Well, hello, and thanks for joining us for another episode of Mid-American Gardener. I'm your host, Tanisha Spain, and joining me is someone who needs no introduction, but we're going to have her introduce herself anyway. So, Martie, tell us about you, and where can we find you?
Hello. My name is Martie Alagna. I'm pretty much retired landscaper. I did a lot of home and some commercial landscapes. I kind of specialize in perennials and shrubs and trees for the smaller landscapes, but nobody's called me to do Windsor Castle over, so it hurt, but I'm living with it.
The Queen said she's clearing her schedule until spring, so you might get that call.
I love corgis.
You never know.
I love them.
So Martie, as you can see, she came fully prepared today. She's the good student. We're going to be talking soil samples, soil testing, how to get things ready, how to know what your landscape is needing for what you want to grow. So she's going to teach us how to test that, and she's got samples from other places. Also, we had a lot of people send in Facebook questions, thank you very much, about landscaping, and we happen to have the landscaping lady in-house. So tell us, so you've got samples from different places.
Yes.
Take it away.
Okay, I went to a local garden center. You can get these anywhere. And I bought a soil test kit. Now, this one has 10 tests, okay? All this does is pH. It just does the alkalinity or acidity of your soil.
Now, can we pause there for just a sec?
Sure.
Just to talk about what likes what, what plants like a little slightly more acidic, just so people can kind of... Typically, I would say it's safe to say that plants on the drier side enjoy a little bit more of a lime, sweeter, higher pH. The average pH is like, I don't know, what, 6 to something like 6, between 6 and 6.5. Okay, 6. It's just a measurement, and it tells you how sweet, alkaline, or acidic your soil is. And plants that live in swampy, boggy areas will typically like more of an acidic environment to grow best. Evergreens, rhododendrons, azaleas, holly. There's a lot of plants in that genre who enjoy and actually really even need to do well. They need more acidic soil, but most vegetables don't. Okay. So good to know either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So these are widely available. I don't know if you want to tighten up the shot on that or not, but these are widely available everywhere. You can get them that do like 20 samples, but I'll tell you, people, my yard's just not that big. So these are really, really easy to do. I've suggested this often, and here we are, the perfect time.
Perfect time. Getting ready to go.
Okay. So this comes with full instructions, okay? It's very, very easy, and it's even got a plant preference list.
Ah, that's what I was asking.
Included,
May
yes.
I?
You certainly may.
Thank you. I'll be
So
your assistant.
So you need soil, and it's got these little pills, these little capsules, and you empty those, add a little water. We're just going to do that right now. It would be better if the soil was on the dry side. That seals really, really well. Look at that. And let me see. Okay, we'll just take samples numerically. This is from the cornfield near my house.
And she dug all these up. The ground is frozen, right? And she's such a friend of the show. Oh, was I not supposed to?
Yesterday.
Yes. Oh, I thought that. You looked at me like it was a secret.
No.
She's such
Brag
a fan,
on.
such a hardcore Mid-American gardener person. She went out and dug up frozen soil for us today.
Yes, me and the dog and the shovel. Okay, so it's better if the soil is a little bit on the crumbly side.
Okay, dry.
Okay,
We want dry
so
soil.
I've got some here. That's we're gonna have to wipe the table off later.
That's all right.
Okay, so
that's
there's
why they pay me the big bucks.
That's right. I've heard about that. I haven't seen any yet. Okay, so there's a little line on here that tells you how full to put the soil. It's just a little bit, and then there's a line up here that tells you how high to fill it with water. And it's just, you can see on the back here, there's a big space here. There's just this little bit where the soil and the water and the tester material goes.
Okay.
hang on to that. I think
Sure.
it's going to fall over.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
My able-bodied assistant,
Here to
Igor.
serve. Here to serve.
Okay.
All right.
Take it. You've got
So you have 10.
You've got a knack, you do. Okay.
Your kit has enough to test 10 samples.
10, but they
Okay.
had one that did like 21, and why it would be 21 instead of 20 I thought was very odd, but there you go. I'm just going to Herculean effort this little bag open. You'd think they'd make this Ziploc, but they didn't, so probably we ought to, okay.
That's all
so
right.
you take one of these little dudes,
Okay.
and you tear it open.
Just feels slightly illegal, but it's not.
It's not. I mean, it would be if this was cocaine, but it turns out it's not, probably. Okay, we'll just,
And moving on.
dump that in there. And we'll put that bag in there. That's what we'll do. Okay, get over there, little fella.
Okay.
Okay, so I think you can probably slurp water up with this, which is pretty handy. They include it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't that
It goes in the
nice?
same side or the larger
Ta-da.
side?
It goes in this side.
Okay.
And you just fill it up to the little line at the top. Boy, they think everything. I mean, I had a paper cup, thanks to my able-bodied other assistants here, but yeah, so
Okay.
you skivert that in there.
Do you need me to turn it around so you can see the water level line? Or are you
no, I'm a professional. Don't try this at
well,
home.
that's right. I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot who I was dealing with here.
It hurt. Okay. All right, no, wait a minute. And we put the little lid on,
Okay.
and it's sectioned for the big side and the little side, so you don't make a horrible mistake. And fling this all over your. I quit stepping on my own tail there. Okay.
All right.
Shika shika.
Sample 1 is
Shika,
in
shika,
the
shika. Yep.
is in the vault.
It's thrilling. so,
So that has to process for a couple of minutes, right?
yeah, it takes just a couple of minutes. It's not long, but just by the time that the soil settles out of it, you just want to get it shook up real well, and then by the time the soil settles out, then we'll have a color that matches one of these, and it'll tell you about where your pH is. It's very simple. It's very simple. This can save you a lot of agony. It's like, why aren't those stupid tomatoes growing the way I want them to?
Yes.
Well,
because
this might help.
the tomatoes prefer, and then you'll find out
that's
where
right.
you are.
There you go.
So while we're waiting for that to process, we
Yeah.
had a lot of folks send in landscaper questions because I told them you were coming. So,
Okie dokie.
let's see.
My adoring public.
Lorraine Herforth says, I'd like some advice on trimming and shaping a young redbud tree. Mine has several very long branches that make the tree look lopsided. So what would you do to rectify that, and when?
You can pruning right now is a good
Pruning right
idea.
now.
And step back from the tree. Obviously, Lorraine, you've done this already, and you looked at it and you didn't like the way it looked. But step back from the tree, say across the yard. Probably, there are also sprouts coming from the ground. It's typical for redbud to be planted when it's kind of small, and it's really easy to plant a small tree too deeply. And then they get little suckers on the bottom, and their trunk, because where the trunk comes down and meets the part of the tree where the roots begin is, it's absolutely essential that that is not under the ground. Okay, and right there, there's a little flare at the bottom. Even, no matter how small the tree is, there's a little flare there where the trunk stops, the above ground part stops, and the roots begin. And if you cover the flare like that, even an inch, two, you're gonna have sprouts. But even if you don't have those, whips in redbuds are really, really common because they grow pretty quickly. They're not a long-lived tree. And also probably they're an understory tree, so I'm just guessing, Lorraine, that the whips are going way out to the sunny side. And it's, you know,
Chasing
it's
light.
like, that's not what I wanted. So follow the whip back and take it off where it begins. I mean, take it off, take it off there. Just take it off right there. And it's, you know, whips are, I don't know, maybe as big as your thumb, maybe as big as your finger. Just take them off.
Okay.
Really flush. Don't leave a little, don't do that.
Take it all the way.
Take it flush. When you cut something off of a tree, take it off flush.
Okay.
Because otherwise it looks horrible. So Okay, so, well, that's looking pretty green there.
It is.
It
So
is.
7.5?
It's quite dark. I'm thinking, yeah. Maybe we need backlighting. I don't know.
It looks, yeah, it's
It
like
does.
almost hunter green.
Yeah, it's
So
about as
for-
dark, 7.5. That's what it looks like.
So for that,
Mm-hmm.
and which sample was this one? Where was
This
one at?
was the cornfield,
The
farm
cornfield.
field right near my house.
Well,
So the farmer,
I was gonna say,
farmer's
if you're
doing a good
watching,
job there. Good
if you're
job
watching here, it's in tip top.
with the cornfield.
Okay,
Okay.
so that one's good.
I wonder if there's anything at all that I could
Dump
pour this
that right into the trash
Oh, right.
can.
We have a trash
And while you're resetting for the
Aren't you
next
awesome?
one, how
Yeah.
about I fire off another question?
Absolutely.
This is from Dan Phillips. And Dan says his backyard is pretty shady, wants to know if more fertilizer, using more than the recommended rate, or overseeding with shady grass seed together, or both, or individually, will help get some grass in those shady spots.
Dan, pal,
I sense bad news.
I got bad news for you. No amount of fertilizer is going to make that grass grow in the shade. It's just not. Now, overseeding with shade tolerant, there's no such thing as a shade loving grass, but shade tolerant grass, that's going to help you a lot. And boy, this is clay soil, and it's really,
Being clay.
yeah.
So,
Sorry for all you new homeowners. So Dan, what you also need to do is get with Lorraine, sharpen your pruners, and see if you can open up the canopy of the trees there. Because what your grass needs is light. Grass loves light. Corn grows in light. Lawns grow in light.
it all needs light.
Yeah, those are all grasses.
So for a shady backyard, we're assuming he's got some pretty mature trees, and
I would guess, but even so, you can sometimes even very mature trees have a couple low hanging branches, and I'm sorry, but really, if you want to get rid of, or you want to get your grass encouraged to grow, what you're going to need to do is somehow get it more light.
okay.
And that's it. So you can also, I don't know the situation. I'm guessing you've probably already considered the possibility of not grass. So, and there's, shade-loving ground covers. Is it shady enough that you could have a delightful hosta garden? Because, you could.
So maybe consider some other things other than grass.
Yeah, but if you really want grass, what you're really going to have is more light. The fertilizer is not the issue.
Okay. All right. Angie Walsh writes, maybe too soon, but how do I get my wisteria to bloom? It grew like crazy last summer, but not a flower in sight. Are those kind of fussy? Or wisteria fussy? Yes.
They are. Especially when they're young.
They're beautiful.
They are beautiful, but they'll just strangle small children on the way by. I mean, these things they are rampant growers. There's no doubt about that. But also,
the blooms, now could that be a pH thing that Angie's experiencing?
not typically.
No?
Wisteria grows on the moon, so
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm not saying it blooms, Angie. I'm just saying it grows.
So don't feel bad.
So yeah, don't feel bad. So, wisteria typically need to be in the ground at least 2, possibly 7 years, and you also need to think about not just letting it grow when you can. Oh yeah. Okay. So we're putting clay in here, by the way.
Okay, this is the clay
And
sample.
we're shaking it up.
Ooh,
I'm a professional. Don't try this at home.
I'm just glad you didn't cuss.
Really?
Yeah.
Me
I was
too.
like, oh, well, there goes
I'm
that
working
show.
on that.
This one's going to be on the cutting room floor.
I'm 61, so
You
I'm
earned it.
getting there.
You
I'm
earned
getting
it. You earned
No,
it.
I'm trying to. It's a bad habit. It dies hard. So,
So maybe her
Crikey.
tree is too young?
yeah, your wisteria might be too young, but also try not to prune it really hard. The ones I've seen that do well, usually, and you can, as you probably know, you have to have an amazingly sturdy thing for them to grow on because they're just cray-cray. But they will do. They will do it. Mostly, it's just time. Don't try to encourage it with extra fertilizer or anything like that. Just wisteria does what it wants to do. Just try to stay away. Don't stand too close while you're napping, because.
Okay.
So there's that one.
That's the clay, right?
That's the clay.
Okay.
So we'll see what it looks like. But it's Illinois clay, so it's like fill dirt. That's from a pile of like clay fill dirt. When you see clean dirt. First of all, it's always got bric-a-brac in it. But then it's highly clay content. So
my backyard is just full of clay, and I have a hard time getting things to grow back there because it's just so heavy and it holds all the water and you know, all the things.
It's no fun.
So we've tried raised beds, we've tried hay bale gardening, anything to just get things off the ground because it's so hard to get it to grow.
Well, I know a guy.
Okay.
I have a solution on number 3 for you.
All right. Okay. So Jeannie or Jean Goebel, she has lots of questions about landscaping.
Okay.
So I'll just hit you with a couple of them. She's got a great big backyard and is looking for a single element for the big pop. So a great big spacious area. What's something that you know is very stunning, very eye-catching that is one of your faves? If space was no constraint.
God, you know,
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Well, there are so many options. I mean, is it a sunny backyard? Is it surrounded? Is there a backdrop of woods or a lake or?
So these are those things you have to like be at the property to try to assess. It makes it tough.
You kind of do. I mean, do you have a fabulous backdrop of evergreens? Because if you do, you might want to do a really colorful, if you want a single focal point in the yard, which is not typically what is done in a big yard like that. But if you do, you know, you might go for a really colorful tree, really colorful, like autumn colored tree. There's just, it's really hard.
That's a tough question. All right.
I mean, I kind of need a picture. You know, how big is big? Is it a big city lot? Is it an acre and a half?
Country lot?
10
what are we
acres?
Talking?
Are we?
So Jeannie, I challenge you to send us a picture of your yard.
I do. I'm sorry, I'm not any more helpful now, but really.
No, that was a tough question.
Landscape it's a visual thing, and I'm like, I have no idea. I mean,
picturing probably 100 different yards.
Yeah,
there.
if you lived in an apartment, this studio is a whopper, you know, but it's not. So,
True.
Yeah. So anyway, what else you got? Oh, it's thinning out a little bit here.
Yeah. Okay. She had several questions. So another one was, what is a good ornamental grass that you like that will help block a neighbor view?
Depending on how bad the neighbor view really is. There are a number of
miscanthus
that come into miscanthus. It's a maidenhair grass. Morning light is a common variety, and you know you can also do pampas grass, which is enormous, but grass is more maintenance than evergreens. So I'm thinking maybe like a windbreak or something. You know, because I don't know, are they nudists or are they just junky? I don't know.
Which one is it? What kind of neighbors are we dealing with here?
How much do you really want to see?
Yes.
Okay.
That's true. That's true. That's something to consider. Okay.
I think we got a result
this one,
here.
Not as dark as the first one. I don't know if you can. You probably can't tell.
Not as dark as the first one, but I'd say this is. Boy, you really do need a light. See, when I hold it up here to the light, it really looks more like we've got lights in the studio. People, I just want. I'm thinking 6.5.
Slightly acidic?
Yeah, I think it is.
Is that what you would expect for clay?
I would think, yeah. Clay is typically a little more acidic, and that's because it holds more water.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't just allow. So
we've got about 7 minutes left.
Okay.
Do you use any witch hazel shrubs? And if you do, are there any?
They're pretty.
They are pretty. So
they are nice.
No recommendations on that one?
What was the question?
What types of witch hazel shrubs would you recommend?
There's mostly people select them just because of the Hamamelis is the genus. Most people just select them because of the color of their bloom. They come in yellow, orange, and red. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they have fall color as well.
Ooh.
On their foliage. They're kind of a big romping shrub.
I was just going to ask what their growth is like and where you need to put them and, you know, in thinking of the future.
Yeah, in front of the dining room window is not a good option.
Not the spot.
It's just a little bit too much there. Okay, for the sake of time, what's this one? Oh yeah, that's the limestone. I'm going to do some well-rotted horse manure compost. Here, this is completely cold and ready
to rock and roll.
Yeah, it's ready to use.
Okay.
When you have a compost pile made of manure, when the weeds begin to grow on it, you've arrived.
Yes. Get the pitchfork and turn them in.
So,
okay.
So yeah, witch hazel, it's beautiful. So if hamamelis is in fact what you're talking about doing, like I said, it's kind of a big romping shrub, sort of like forsythia. So it takes off and flies. It goes all over the place. And if I'm not mistaken, it will sucker a little bit.
Okay.
But, so on the edge of a property, back in the back corner where you can appreciate its form, but not, hold on.
But not, it won't take over.
Yeah, well, it's not snagging you on the way by. And well, I tear the end off and then the thing comes apart. Now you're just being recalcitrant.
Look that one up.
Yeah. That's a big word, children. Here we go.
And in it goes. All right, last one probably. I think we might run out of time before we get to another one.
Maybe.
And then while you're doing that, somebody asked, and I thought this was a great question for you. How do you know? How do you choose your landscaper? I'm sure you were just so pleasant and just a peach to work with.
That's a given.
But how do you choose when you have someone come to the house? How do you choose your landscaper?
Well,
what are some key attributes that kept your customers coming back?
When you have to, well, I am charming, but
charm first. Yes. Yes.
See what kind of questions I ask you instead of first of all, meet them. When you meet people and you know right away whether or oh, and you feel like they've got a feel for what you're talking about, and if they, in my opinion, if they ask you questions like, what colors do you like? What have you tried here before? How do you see this area? Do you look out this window a lot?
Ooh,
Stuff like that.
That's a good one.
But if they go, well, here, I'll just sketch this out and there's the bill.
Give it to you.
It's like, your yard is important because I come and work in it and then I leave.
You're stuck with it.
You're stuck with it. Exactly. So we'll try to do something that makes you happy. I mean, I had a long-standing client that I just adored, and usually I worked with her husband, but one day he wasn't there and I came to work and she came out on the deck and I said, "What do you like? What differences would you like to make? I never get to talk to you about this." And she said, "I look out this kitchen window a lot, and I don't like the view."
Ooh.
And she probably had the worst view of the whole yard because there was still some junk and stuff, kind of some bricks and things piled up there. And I said, "We can fix that."
Yeah.
So I did. She really liked peonies. We planted a bunch of them. They had a lilac tree that bloomed. We put some. It was
so
much
it's that
nicer.
relationship that you build and having those conversations.
Yeah.
So if you've got someone that's just coming in kind of fly by night and rushing you through it, probably.
Well, even like, I don't know, if somebody comes in and they want to tell you what to put in instead of asking you what you'd like to see, since they don't live there.
Yeah, red flag.
I always thought that was important. I thought that was important to find out, what the client would like. Here's a good question. Do they ask you I've had a couple clients who were foursquare against particular colors in the yard. As a landscaper, that's important. So, yeah. I made the mistake once of doing it backwards. And I said, well, here, I was going to do these and those things. And I thought purple would go really nice against the house. Well, she didn't like purple.
And she did not like purple.
So I went home again and I got out more graph paper.
Back to the drawing board.
That's what I did.
Okay.
So
that's good advice. That's all good advice.
Yeah, I mean, this, like somebody, I don't know. I always felt like I had a friend relationship with my clientele.
That's important.
I just didn't blast in and do something. I'm like, write the check, bye. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we've got 1 minute left. Are we going to make the test in time? Are we going to finish our test in time?
Silt out.
Let's see. And this is the compost.
This is the compost But there's the stuff in the bottom.
Oh.
Dagnabbit. Come on. Come
Well,
on.
that one might not make it. But if
It
it
might.
doesn't, typically, where does manure fall?
It's going to fall possibly on the acidic side because compost made out of manure has uric acid. It has urine in it. And there's usually a bedding of some kind. Sawdust is what my horses are bed on. And as sawdust breaks down, as anything breaks down against the soil, it eats up nitrogen.
Gotcha.
But then the uric acid from the urine kind of counterbalances that. So what compost is really great for is not pH correction as much as just lightening the tilth of your soil. Like that clay, it could stand a truckload of this because it's nice and...
It's still not quite turning yet, but that's all right. We're out of
shook
time.
it. I thought those little
on it. Well,
thingamajigs
you get the
would-
gist, right?
Yeah.
You get the gist.
You know what? You need to buy one of these
Yes.
things
Get a
and
kit.
come out to my barn, get some poop, and see what you think.
And we're going to end on that.
Okay.
So, well, thank you so much, Martie. It's always fun, always a pleasure. Thanks for bringing
Thanks for having
the
me.
dirt into the studio. And thank you for watching, and
I'm
we will
bringing the
see you
dirt.
next time. Good night.